Welcome again to our podcast, Freedom Journey. Today's a little bit different. It's a big day for us. We're announcing the next big step in the Study Bible project. And we've been working at this for almost 2 years. In fact, back in January the 3rd, 2024, it was kind of a big day for us. I was driving through Somerset, and Clyde came down to have lunch. We had lunch at Ruby Tuesdays, as I recall.
We did.
And we were just going to have lunch. In fact, after lunch, you were headed to Virginia for your, mother-in-law's funeral?
Yes.
And so we really didn't have any agenda or anything. We like each other and like to hang out.
Yeah.
And so in our conversation, I'm a fundraiser by trade, and I asked Clyde a question, like, if money was no object, what would you do? And immediately you had an answer for me. Most times when I ask that question, people have to think about it, but immediately you had an answer. You had this idea of a Bible dictionary and a Bible, a study Bible. And man, I could tell when you were talking that I could feel the passion, and I started feeling it. And that's kind of where we got started. So give me your thoughts on the day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That'll be 2 years ago in January. And that was an awesome day. I'm not sure anybody's ever asked me about, if money weren't an object, what would you do? And, lately, some you and Andre have been taking over a lot of responsibilities, and we'll get back to that in a minute. But I'm just saying this as a little introduction. And Andy started sending out the daily email goodies, and we've had a few people said, "Oh, I see Clyde's retired," and we didn't know he was going to retire. And we're sorry for that confusion, that people misunderstood what's happening in this process. And the fact is, my family knows here that retirement is not in my vocabulary. And I have a passion about what's going on, and I am going to stay at this as long as I have the strength in life. This is my life, this work here. And but anyway, so when you asked me, it was I was thrilled to hear that question. And really, the answer that I gave you was really a dream. And I wasn't sure it was ever going, I think I was probably sure it was never going to happen. And that's because this work has grown so large in the things that we do and the reach that we have, that we were really getting narrowed in on expansion. And to be able to talk with you that day about it was a thrill. And you actually gave me a spark that day, because this desire was buried, I think, knowing that I just never have the time and resources to accomplish this task. So it was definitely a milestone day, January 3rd, 2024.
Well, to the end of September in 2024.
Yes.
Basically is when we made the first video.
Yes.
And put out the vision that we had for the Study Bible project. But during that time period, we talked about a lot of possibilities, a lot of options.
Preparatory stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to go. And
yeah, you were go. And I know that God, and we could talk about this more either this time or another update we give, but I can look back now and see so many ways that God got you ready for you and I to come together. And one of them was uh, that this is an area that you excel in and that you have qualifications for, and that is making concepts and ideas and passions known so that folks could help. And I know that day that and I'll tell you that excitement you had to move forward, and it took me till September to say yes, I'm ready. And to be honest with you, my biggest drawback there was, you talked to me that day. You said, you know what, your experience was that finances wouldn't be the issue, and in fact, that'd be the smaller of our problems. That if we presented this vision, this goal, this plan, that saints would respond. And wow, were you right? But I think I had initial trouble, you know, coming from a religious system that was always pushing for finances. I had never asked money for anything, and so it took me a while to even become comfortable. I think that was the main thing. Father was getting me comfortable with the idea that if I had a passion and I had something on my heart, that I could be able to share it with people, without pressure on anyone, without any gimmicks, without any, any scheme, but just simply speak from our hearts about what we're wanting to accomplish. And to realize, you helped me realize that this money wasn't about me, because I'm not getting this money. It's not for my pocket, but it's so that it's another way that someone can help me. I'm investing my time, and other people can invest their finances. And then finally, it took those 9 months or so for me to say, oh, you know what, Steve, I'm ready. Let's do this. I see this. So it's just a part of my own journey, out of religion, but learning how to operate, with the saints.
Well, and I think our two personalities are, what's the word?
Complementary.
Complementary to each other.
Yeah.
I'm pulling and you're pulling back. And I think there needed to be some thought put into the process.
Yeah.
And what it would look like and what it would need. I knew, I've been in the fundraising for over 10 years now. And I know people love to be involved in things that they believe in. And I just know that people would love to be involved in something they maybe don't have the writing skills, or they're busy, or all the other things. But this is one way they can be a part of it.
Yes.
And we've had some very generous folks who've and we're probably getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but we did that video in September.
Yes.
A vision for the future.
Yep.
And we put out there, what our budget would need. And we had a minimum amount of 30 grand that we wanted to raise before we started the process.
Yes.
And then we put that out again in the BSN in November.
Yes.
And by the end of the year, we had what we needed. Right? Yeah.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
And you always told me that was going to be the easy part. The hard part was to get the help.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah. And I've talked to enough people, involved in our circle of, they have a passion for this. I mean, what's happening at Study Shelf and in the ministry is very unique. It's
Yes.
not happening anywhere else in the world.
No.
And we recently upgraded the website.
Yes.
And there's 488 books or something on there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost.
Those are our books.
Yeah. And so that impact is, but the study Bible will take all that.
Yes.
And put it in one place.
Yes.
And put it in a way that people can understand it.
Definitely. Yeah. And I know we've undoubtedly already discussed this, but just to reiterate, and also for anyone who's maybe listening to this whole idea the first time, we have all of us that have been brought together have a long journey that Father has brought us to this point. And as far as this work goes, like you said, we have nearly 500 books in print. We have 35 years of a periodical, the Bible Student's Notebook, in currently 43 volumes. We have the daily email goodies that go out every day. We have all these video resources that you've stepped up to really championing. And we have all this material. And we've come to a place where all of this understanding, all of this cataloging of doctrine and information and study can now be focused and released in a study Bible. And just as a quick, overview of what this study Bible is about, this study Bible is going to have two translations. It's going to have an ultra literal translation, which I think is desperately needed. We have literal translations, but we're talking about hardcore here. And a lot of times the trouble with a very ultra literal translation is it might be a little complicated to read, but to me it's essential. And then we're going to have right beside it a more modern, contemporary, easy to read translation, so that we cover the best of both worlds in this study Bible. And then a system of extensive notes and references and resources that will be available to the student who reads this. And again, what this is going to do is pull all these decades of resources together into one place. And this Bible is going to be, this study Bible is going to be eventually huge. So it's a daunting task when you think about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go as far and as long as Father's written. I'm ready to go. And in fact, the last few weeks, I've actually been working full time now. Thanks. And we'll talk more about that. But it's obvious to me that the place we have to start is with the scripture that belongs to us specifically today. So this project starts with Ephesians, and then it will move to Colossians, and then it will move to Philemon, and then it'll move back out to the gateway epistle of Philippians. And this system we're developing, and then as I implement it for Ephesians, and then subsequently the other epistles, hopefully, I don't know how long I've got, energy and time wise, but I'm going to go as far as I can. But with the system that I'm developing, how I'm doing it, very structured and very organized and very laid out. Anyone along the way can join me in this, helping me doing this. The actual laying out of the Bible part together. And even when we're gone, someone can pick up and keep going. But the essential thing is that we have a study Bible for the present administration, a secret administration study Bible. And by God's grace, we will get as far and as long as we can on this. So I am, again, quick overview of what we're doing, and I am stoked about it. I just want to say that I can't, I'm in my element. For the last few weeks, um, I've devoted full time. Now, past my full time work on that, I still take care of other projects related to the work here, but it's really full time. And I'm in my element. I know that 5 decades have brought me to this point, and this is where I'm energized. This is where I'm, it's that divine energy. And to think about it, that's exactly what has brought us to this place is divine energy, the operation of the placer and subjector, who has brought me to this place, who has used you to bring me to this place, who has energized the saints to support it and encourage it. And I just want to thank God for all the people who have been involved and who are becoming involved. We've had generous support over the years that allowed us to do this work. And now this has really stepped up. And we have people contributing from $10 a month to large one-time gifts that have allowed us to reach this place that now I am full-time operating. Now, people who know me know that my hours I get a lot of hours in the day because I don't need much sleep. So, I'm still able to do other things related to this work. But my focus now, number one, top of the list, is this study Bible. And by the way, it might seem odd that this is on the freedom journey that we're discussing this, but this is a freedom Bible. This Bible is going to be about freedom. Freedom from tradition, freedom from religion, freedom from bondage. We're going to be talking about. God wrote it, but religion's taken the scriptures and turned them into a bondage maker. And by God's joy and God's energy, we are going to strive with his power to make a change in that.
I guess we should talk a little bit what we wanted to raise the money for.
Yes.
And you had just alluded to some of it, but there's a lot going on, and you just didn't have the time to do it.
No.
And so we decided that a full-time assistant,
yes,
would be very helpful in taking care of shipping and the YouTube channel and the daily email goodies and just all the other things that are necessary and are important, but just take all your time. And so our call for the funds were to be able to hire an assistant.
Yes.
And we had a vision of what this looked like. It hasn't turned out that way. We'll talk about that in a minute. But we were looking for someone that may possibly would move in and be able to just be there and take care of all the on-site tasks.
Yes.
And then do all the other things on the online things. And so, excuse me. So that's what we were wanting to raise the money for.
Yeah.
And so we, like I said, by the end of the year, we had the funds. And then in January of 2025, about a year later, tell us about your granddaughter.
Yes. So I have a granddaughter, and she was halfway through her first year in college, which she goes to a local college here. And she expressed an interest of coming in and helping me. And so again, like you said, by the way, and I just want to be thankful, this ministry for 5 decades has always been just volunteer people who've been helping us. And yet the last few years, its demands have grown to such a place that I ended up studying less and less and focusing on new ground scripture wise, because just so busy with things. And some people retired or devoting many hours, if not full time, like Andre, and still we weren't able to keep up. And so you helped me see that if we hired someone just to do so many things that were tying my hands, and like you said, we envisioned what this would look like. It's funny, when we envision what God has written, we usually get it wrong. And so we thought, like you said, we thought this would be one person, and they probably would move here and become the assistant and take on all the roles. Well, so that first development is, like you said, my granddaughter Emma Hawes, and so she started in January 8th. She started coming in the office, and I started training her on things I was doing, and she just came in a couple days a week, based on her schedule for college, and within a few months she became invaluable assistant of mine. She freed me from so many tasks, working just about 10 hours a week. And so she's been a tremendous blessing to me. I thank her every day that she comes in. I say, thank you for helping Grandpa. And she's sweet and easygoing and very proficient. And so I think that was the first little stage, maybe, in thinking that maybe the way God's written the solution isn't quite the way we thought.
Yeah. And then in April, we put out a video that we're ready to go. We want to hire this person.
Ready to hire. Yep.
Serious about hiring. And very quickly, we had a response.
We did. Fast.
And, talk about Austin.
Yeah. Within a day or two, we had a response. And I thought to myself, you told me that the fundraising would be the easy part. Finding the person would be the hard part. And immediately we had a response from someone who had been following our ministry, a young man following our ministry, and had our books and yes. And Austin, he reached out, and immediately him and I started talking, and we had this tremendous bond. I was so thankful. I've been so thankful to getting to know him, and so much so that within a few weeks he came and made a trip here, and he was in the middle of making a transition anyway regarding work, and he was out of the Coast Guard and trying to figure out his career path. And Austin has a tremendous passion for this work, for this and for this message. And so it just seemed ideal. And he came and spent a week. Oh, it was a beautiful week of fellowship. He helped me a lot. He ended up taking over for a while the YouTube channel and the telephone and some other things. And was I excited about that development. And the best thing about all that is just getting to know Austin. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there like that, people who are following this work that they just haven't reached out. And so that was encouraging too, to think that there's people out there who are eating this stuff up, eating these truths up. But as maybe a couple months passed, as he was going to go back and try to tie up things in his life and consider the steps, the transition, he came to realize that he didn't believe that this was the direction at this time, and it was a little discouraging because I really fell in love. I love Austin now, and love our fellowship, and it seemed ideal, and so that had us a little occupied for a couple months, but it also had freed me up a little bit for a couple months, which I appreciated. But then we seemed like we were back at square one again. And this whole thing with Emma, my granddaughter working for me, she kept developing, and I thought, well, this is good and okay, because if Austin comes and he's my full-time assistant, then Emma can be his assistant. We use all the help we can get. But now then we're just back to Emma, and of course she's still going to college, so she's only got about 10 hours a week still that she can contribute to this work. So then we're back to, okay, now what, Father?
Yeah, I just remember feeling just a disappointment for that.
Yeah,
he seemed like the perfect match, the perfect fit.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And and like you said, I was up there one day when he was in visiting, and just really,
he's a joy. He's
a joy. I really learned to
love him.
Yeah, but and it's okay. Father had other plans for him.
Yeah,
that's just the way.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that Watson quote. I was going to be disappointed. Then I realized that Father's he's the source of all things, even my disappointments. I was going to complain. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And so relatively, you want to be the tire, the air out of your tire. But then you think, okay, well, this is what Father wrote. Yeah. Maybe he just trying to show us that he can do this, which we know he can. But that wasn't the path.
Right.
And I, can't help but thinking that, okay, Father must have something even better than that planned.
Well, and I was at a point where my career is I do fundraising consultant for nonprofits, and I had I had some clients, and the one client I decided that it was time to move on, so I had put in my resignation for them, and that was going to free me up just the end of September here, so that's over. And then there was another client that I gave them a notice that I was going to resign at the end of this year, and so that was going to free me up.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, of course, it was Father. But one evening, I think I'm watching a baseball game, and I got to thinking, like, well, we have Emma, so we don't need anybody to move there.
Yeah, locally, yes.
Yeah, yes. Locally. And I'm already working with the ministry, and I love every bit of what I do. And I'm going to have time. Maybe I should do this.
Maybe you're the man.
And, I'm sitting there and I'm like, this can't be right. But the more I thought about it, more excited. I sent you a text like, I'm afraid to send you this text.
You did.
Yeah. But what would you think about me, taking this position? And
wow.
And then on that Sunday, my wife and I watched that January or the April video where we put out what we were looking for in an assistant. And both of us felt like, wow,
that's me.
That's me. Yeah. That's me. And so, I sent you the text, and then we talked the following week, I think, for a while. And,
oh man.
And talk about, your part in all that.
Oh yeah. So I get this. Yeah. You sent me this message and you're like, okay, I'm a little hesitant to hit send here.
Yeah.
And here it goes. And I'm just talking out loud, thinking out loud. And you just present the idea that maybe this person we're looking for is you. Mm-hmm. How ironic is that you're the one who starts the conversation with me, about if money were no object, what would we do? And then I think, oh my goodness, when Austin reached out, that could this get better, and to be honest with you, when you sent me that text, thinking, oh my goodness, God just outdoes himself. He, I used to hear Dean Wilkinson used to say, God's showing off. Yeah. I love that. And, I could not be more thrilled. Steve, I don't know how far back our relationship goes. I'd say in the early 2010s, there were a couple occasions that you came here to Wimber and visited. And, but then in April of 2022, you joined our editorial team on the Bible Students Notebook. You had said, I have a passion for what you're doing, and see myself.
A month or two before that, we had we really hadn't connected for a long time.
Right? There you go. Thanks for that. Yes.
Yeah, probably because we ended up moving to South Carolina for a while.
Okay.
And
that was the conference.
That was the conference. And
wow.
And I had this passion for the salvation of all, and I wanted to have a conference, and I figured, well, let me call Clyde, and you hadn't done one in a while because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so you came down, and that was a big part of just
wow.
You're like, wow, I want to do more with this,
Putting the fire under you.
Put some fire under me.
Yeah. Yeah. So you reached out and you said, you'd like to do more, you'd like to become more involved. And, this is where I don't have any skills. I'm really just a Bible student. That's it. And then I can't help but teach what I study. So that makes me a teacher. Then I can't help but write about it because I'm so passionate about it. So, I'm not really a teacher and a writer as much as I have a passion to study the scriptures. And then it results in those two things. And then, but people do reach out and say, hey, I'd like to help. How can I help? And man, am I lost. I don't even know how I help, and I remember you said that. And, one of the things I tell some people who seem to have an interest, I say, hey, well, the thing that we do most consistent is the core of our work is the Bible Students Notebook. So why don't you just join the editorial team? You'll get it every week. You'll get immersed into what we're teaching and helping that way. And maybe as you're doing it, you'll be able to see where you fit, and so you started that way. And I'm going to tell you what, that was 3 years ago last April. I went back actually and looked at all the BSNs and found when you were first on the editorial list on the second page, April 11th, 2022. And since that time, in these 3 years, you have ever increasingly become, Father has written that you would be a major player on this team. And, for 35 years, my most faithful and constant laborer, co-laborer, and companion in this work has been Andre Snyder. I'd still just be a Bible student. And really, even though I was a pastor before, I left the pastorate. So I didn't have that organization and mechanism, to teach. And And then in a period of these last 3 years, you have teamed right up. Father wrote that you join right in there, and at an increased level. And I am so humbled by the work that Father has operated, energized through you, bringing clarity and content and to this message. And I so love and appreciate you and value you, as I'm sure our listeners, our watchers of YouTube videos, our readers, I'm sure they're blessed. They have to be with your writing, your articles, your books, and you've become prolific in so many of these areas and taken us to a whole nother level. And then when you sent that message to me, I'm like, duh. Yes, you're the man. Yes, you're the person. The interesting thing is, instead of one person who takes on all this role, there were already two people in my life. Emma, my granddaughter, you, already my faithful co-laborer, and Father's written the two of you to step up to a different place. And how perfect was that? I'll be honest with you, I had hesitation about who this assistant would be, because this assistant couldn't just have office skills and editorial skills and management skills. This person absolutely, in my mind, had to have the same level of understanding and passion for these truths. How's somebody going to help me who doesn't understand my passion, who doesn't understand this message, who doesn't understand really what we're doing? Not that we're just doing something. And you are a person that matches that passion. And I was not only was I thrilled when you sent me that message, I was so encouraged that someone was going to assist who knew, who had realization. We can get anybody to do some manual stuff, but no one's going to be able to really assist me the way I need them to if they don't match the passion. And lo and behold, you're the man. And then I know, Steve, you, and maybe share a little bit about that, about your own journey, just as well as I can look back over 5 decades and I see God's wise and steady plan unfolding in my life that brought me unmistakably to this point. I know that you could do the same thing. You can see God got you ready for this.
Yeah, everything in my life has been part of bringing me to this point. I mean, like you, I grew up in a very legalistic, strict, probably more than you,
Yes. Yeah.
religious tradition, the Mennonites.
Yeah.
And it never did sit with me. I mean, I played the game for years, but there was always something that felt like there was, there's got to be something more than all of this.
Yeah.
And I got married, have three great kids and about 8 grandkids and a great grandkid. So, had great family life. I appreciate all of them, my wife especially. And but I was in management for a number of years. General manager of an insulation manufacturing facility, and then for a long time, probably 30 years, I was in sales and marketing. And then about 15 years ago, I got involved in fundraising, which was just kind of a natural transition from the sales. So
yes,
that all built onto this. And and each step became more fulfilling. It was more fulfilling raising funds for organizations that were helping people than it was selling insulation.
Yeah.
That was fulfilling because that's a needed product. It wasn't, it was something right. And but and in all this, I think it was about 2011 when I started questioning hell. And of course, like a lot of people do, they get into it, they find how great it is, and I couldn't shut up about it, and it got me fired from my first fundraising job because, which at the time seemed like it was very devastating, but it was one of the best things that ever happened.
It seemed like the end of the world for you.
Yeah,
I remember you reach out to me. They want you to sign a doctrinal statement.
Yeah.
And that's when it came down to it.
Yeah. Now, thanks to me, everybody that joins that organization has to sign the doctrinal statement. So they learned their lesson, I guess. But and that's, I think it was around 2013 or something when I came up to visit.
Okay.
And you guys give me a whole pile of books, man. I come home with a bunch of books and started reading. And then for 3 years, we lived in South Carolina, there with the boys camp, working with them. And so that took all my time and effort. Although during that time I was, continued to read and study some because I had time. Then we moved back and that kind of changed my employment kind of situation. I ended up just working as a consultant. But all of that, and what's interesting, my dad has been in the publishing. In fact, he had when he passed away, he had a website selling homeschool books, curriculum, and all that kind of stuff. And so,
he was involved in some major publishing.
Yeah, for years, and Rod Staff Publishers, and
and
so I'm kind of following my father's path, which is kind of cool.
And what's interesting, just as a little side note, we homeschooled all of our children, and some of the curriculum we used to supplement in our homeschooling was from Rod and Staff, and and it's funny. So we had this sort of a little connection from years ago, through your father, which is just an interesting side note.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, when I started helping out in back in April of 22.
Yes.
It was just I felt like, as a consultant, you're not really part of a team. You work for the team. You're
an outsider working.
Yeah. And now I'm like, wow, this is, with you and Andre and the other people that are involved, I feel like I'm I'm an integral part of something. And and we have these conversations about our projects and the ministry and life and scripture and these truths. And it was like, wow, I found my home. And so these last, just 22 or this 25. So these last 3 years have been just, it's an outlet too for these things I had. And things I wanted to write, things I wanted to say,
Right. All bottled up.
And really had no way of getting them out,
Sure.
And and so that's been such a blessing. I appreciate so much that you've taken some of my stuff and printed it and put it on the website
well, it's because you and your work is so invaluable to me. How could we not do this?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say your work. You're the Bible student.
Yes.
And I'm how do you get people like me to understand what you're saying kind of guy?
Yes. Right.
And so I mean, all my work is based. I'm not a real, I like to study and all, but just to dig. I'm not. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
But your work has given me the opportunity to help put my thoughts together and present
Yeah.
it in my own way. Yeah.
For easy consumption.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, tell us quickly too. I know there's another cool story in there from your past. We'll touch on that before we move on. Just you as a young person with your little printing press.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had these little rubber types that you would set, and I'd make little newspapers and try to get news and print them out, and so and
Oh,
always
that's so funny because I did the same thing as young. I had a little neighborhood paper that I would mimeograph and pass around to the neighbors of neighborhood news, and then that was when I was really young. And then when I started getting interested in in Bible stuff, I had some little periodicals that I made even as a young teenager. I'm talking 14, 15, years old. And it's fun. Father instilled in us this something in us to get something out.
Well, from like during the 80s when I was managing this insulation company, one of the project that I enjoyed the most was our quarterly newsletter we sent out. And and people people talk about it all the time, which always kind of amazed me. It wasn't as easy back then to put something together. You had to put it all together and then send it to the printer and all that. But I enjoyed that more than anything. Just finding information about insulation and about energy and all that kind of stuff, and something different that they weren't getting other places. And that's always been part of. And of course, a lot of my work with nonprofits is writing. Newsletters they send out, appeal letters, content for emails and all that. So God's been using all of that to prepare me, because learning fundraising, boy, if you can tell me to stop, but learning fundraising writing was very helpful, because it's all about keeping things simple.
Yes.
And easy to understand.
And connecting.
And so that's been very helpful now in the way that I write. That's been a big part, I think, of trying to keep things simple, understand, and keep people involved, and not writing in a way that puts makes people feel inferior or or that type of thing. And so that decade or more of fundraising has been very helpful in what I do today.
Well, those of us are so encouraged by your videos, by your articles, by your books, are so thankful that Father trained you for this purpose. And here's the thing. I mean, you've really become a full-time laborer in this work, constantly generating and participating and helping. And then the whole idea that you presented, that as you lay aside these two clients of yours, and that in January you could really, in addition to all the many things that you already do for this work and all the many hours you already spend, that you're going to be able to devote in the transition time between now and the beginning of the year more and more time. And then at the first of the year, be ready to really roll. And then where the finances come in is, we're able to pay Emma to help me here in the office. And we'll able to help supplement your income from these clients that you're laying aside to help us do this work. And as we would say, it's like a hand fitting a glove. It's abundantly above all that we could ask or think.
And it's my dream. I mean, people sometimes say, "How you doing?" I'm living the dream. Well, I'm living the dream. And
I hear you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. And these truths have been, and we have this is the freedom journey, have been so freeing.
Yes.
I mean, and in the last year, or especially, it just seems like Father has just taken these loads and these anxieties and these worries off of me, and freeing me up to trust Him more, and freeing Him up to love more, so yeah, this is. You said it was a dream come true for you. This is a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in September, on the 16th, you came up for a day, or over for a day, and you got to meet Emma, and of course, oh yeah, she is just a blessing to me, and and we got to be here with Jason. Of course, Jason, we have the family to help support our own personal needs. We have a used book business, and Jason manages that. And so he was here, and of course Nathan, who's he's a part of the brains and passion behind everything that happens. And we were able to spend a day together, and you getting a sense of some of the ways you could initially begin to help me, and we're off and running. I mean, you've taken over the curation of the YouTube channel. You've already taken over the production, the material production side of the daily email goodies, and Andre stepped up and well, he's been doing this for about a year now, about the actual layout and technical side of producing the daily email goodies. And so between the two of you, you've eliminated my activity in the YouTube channel. You've eliminated my activity in the daily email goodies, and with Emma, taking 10 hours of my office time away from me. This is how really since for the last few weeks I've been able to devote full time kind of hours to this work. And I could not be more thrilled about where this is going. We're going to take it as far as we can, this study Bible. We're going to, and the only limitations will be the limitations, of course, that Father wrote. And he knows what those are. But we need the time, we need the team, the financial resources. Right now we have, time, a team, we got resources, and Father's energizing the givers. He's energizing you and me and all the many editorial assistants that we have on the BSN board. And so we're going to go as far as Father wrote. And then maybe we'll get more help. Maybe someone will say, hey, I'd like to help you actually doing the work you're doing, volunteer. We could use as many volunteers as we can. And we'll take it as far as we can. And, someone can take up the mantle after us.
Well, we're both about the same age.
Yep.
And I feel part of our responsibility here is to, you talked about as you set up the Bible study process that at some point, someone would be able to go on with it.
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel the same way with the administrative side of it. We're accomplishing work now, and hopefully we can do that for a while, but also we're setting it up that other people can step in and take it further.
Yes.
Stand on our shoulders, as they say. And so I feel, that, part of our responsibility is preparing the next generation.
Yes.
To take on what we're doing.
I'll tell you what, I've never been more encouraged about my own purpose, my own direction, about the team that Father has assembled, co-laborers together in love and in truth. I love that part. You know, we have the Father is. I always long to be in the fellowship of brothers who were not contentious and who were in peace and joy. And wow, I could not be more thankful for what God has done. And this is a major, what we're announcing today, and this vision, this update of the vision. I could not be more pleased with what Father's written. You know, we don't have to be pleased with what Father wrote. And sometimes it's hard stuff, you know, and that's okay. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done, you know. But then there's times where, man, this is beautiful.
You know, if you went in detail, and we'll share more as we go on, and more videos about the details of what the study Bible will study. We'll keep you up to date on the progress. But this, you know, especially the first 4 books of that you're working on, you know, that'll just be invaluable, I think.
Yes.
And to me, it's like the next companion Bible.
Yes.
Yeah. And the companion Bible is 100 years old or whatever, and but we've been able to stand on the shoulders of Bollinger and Knock and on all these, and take these truths further. And the further we go, the more joy, the more freedom, the more peace.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is.
And we go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining in this, for people sharing their passion, for people who have given. And please, I mean, if you feel like you have something to offer in this, just because I'm taking this position doesn't mean we don't need more people. Like you say, we never have enough. So just give us a call, you know, and if there's any way that you feel like you have some skills to offer this is a big deal. It's a big project.
It is a big
It is a huge project. And because we got, what you say, 3-4 decades of information, but it's all scattered, and to bring it all in and so we're thankful for everybody's support. A lot of people shared with us about how excited they are for this, and
thank you to everyone who's participated so far, and we're excited to see what Father has already written for who else
will
be a part of our team. You know, volunteering and taking on aspects and continue to helping us financially. We thank you. This will be the tools, you know, to help us pass along to the next generation this place that God has brought us to.
Well, thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, comments, you can put them below, or you can contact us. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And so thank you.